It looks like a TVA agent has abandoned their post. In Disney Plus Loki Season 2 Episode 2, Breaking Brad, Loki and Mobius search for Hunter X5 in the hopes of finding Sylvie. But it seems he and General Dox have other intentions. Ones that have catastrophic consequences. The episode opens with Hunter X5, who is living a new life on a different timeline as a famous actor. Hunter X5, or Brad, is attending his movie premiere when he sees Mobius and Loki. Immediately, a rather long chase scene ensues, resulting in Loki using his powers to subdue Brad by using shadow magic. The duo brings him back to the TVA completely confused as to what he was doing living on a separate timeline. Brad, who, in case you didn't observe from the season opener, is a complete jerk and bully. He refuses to tell Loki and Mobius what he was doing, where Sylvie is, if he even found her, and where General Dox went. Although Mobius warned Loki that Brad would be brutal, I don't think even I expected him to bring up Loki's adoptive mother, Queen Frigga. Ironically, Loki is able to handle the jabs, keeping his cool and using that nature to try to scare Brad, but to no avail. That is until he gets an idea. After locking Mobius out of the chamber Brad is imprisoned in, Loki messes with the device that creates a cube to surround him. The longer Brad denies knowing anything, the longer his torture of being squeezed into a small space continues. Thankfully, he caves and reveals he found Sylvie. Naturally, Mobius wasn't locked out of the room, as this all went according to plan. General Dox is still missing, and Casey and Hunter B-15 still can't find Ravonna Renslayer. However, they do discover that she is with Miss Minutes. Brad, Mobius, and Loki all travel to the 1982 McDonald's in Oklahoma where Sylvie is working. She is an efficient and happy employee, until she has her first interaction with Loki. That scene, you can cut the tension with a knife. The two decide to talk outside, while Mobius and Brad remain inside the fast food restaurant. As Loki and Sylvie essentially argue about what has been going on at the TVA, the temporal core, and why he saw her at the TVA before he got pruned, Brad becomes increasingly more agitated the longer this task takes. Oh yeah? According to O.B, the temporal core cannot handle the massive number of timelines that exist. He's trying to resolve the problem but has yet to find a solution. As we recall, this is a result of Sylvie killing He Who Remains. Although this issue can affect her happiness living in 1982 and working at McDonald's, she could care less. It doesn't take long for Mobius to realize something is wrong, and wouldn't you know it, something is very wrong. Brad confesses that the plan with General Dox wasn't just to find Sylvie but to destroy all the branches of the timeline, including the one Sylvie is living in. The group manages to arrive to where several TVA agents are transporting to different timelines to destroy them. Loki and Sylvie do their best to stop as many agents as possible, while the TVA is witnessing the literal destruction of timelines. Despite their best efforts, even showing off some impressive teamwork, a majority of the timelines are destroyed. This means countless lives gone forever. General Dox is arrested, and Sylvie leaves the TVA bitter and angry that this even happened to begin with. She returns to her timeline, which still exists, resting on the hood of her truck as a younger McDonald's employee leaves for the night. Well, that is one way to resolve the temporal core issue. The realization of what General Dox had planned to do and practically succeeded in doing was monstrous and unforgivable. The ending of the episode really is the high point, as it seemingly comes out of nowhere but in the best way possible. It's essentially a perfect plot twist for a show that is barely in its second season. Already Loki Season 2 has not even remotely touched the brakes, continuing an action-packed, emotion-filled story at an impeccable speed. However, getting to that point was a little confusing. Hunter X5 or Brad seemed to have such an obsessive level of hatred for Sylvie in the last episode. Like the kind of hatred that keeps the villain of a story motivated to the point where no one is safe. But then, out of the blue, he decides to abandon that mission and live on another timeline as an actor? The sudden shift or change in his personality felt very out of place and random. But overall, Breaking Brad proved to be another powerhouse of an episode for Loki Season 2. How will the TVA move on from this horrific defeat? Will there be a way to reverse what happened? Oh, and the scene where Loki uses his shadow magic to capture Brad, chills.